Hey there, I'm Sam, and usually I post animatics on here, but as you can see from the title, that is not what we're doing today. Recently, I had a little Minecraft phase and remembered that years and years ago, I saw an artist that redrew Minecraft screenshots, and I thought, hey, that's actually such a cool idea. Like, I love art and gaming, so yeah, let's combine the two. And with that, welcome to this video. Today, I'm using Minecraft to get some art inspiration and motivation, because my god, that sure has been slacking for me recently. I will do so by first hopping onto Minecraft in a realm I've been playing in recently with my girlfriend and friends, and we'll just run around to hopefully find some awesome looking landscapes. Then I will take screenshots of said landscapes to save them for later, and after that it is art time. I will draw 4 illustrations in total today and would love to know which one is your favorite by the end of this video. Now, without further ado, let's jump into it. Because I played in the realm before and therefore was familiar with some places, I had one spot in mind that I really wanted to find again.
The place I have in mind first is, I hope I will find it again, a cherry blossom biome, which is like near Pillager Tower. I saw it once and I kind of just know the general direction. So I will just see if I find the place again, and if not, I maybe find some nice landscapes on my way there. So I hope either way it will be a win-win situation.
Spoiler alert, I didn't find a singular cherry blossom biome, let alone the specific one I was looking for, which was kinda a downer because I really wanted to draw some cherry blossoms, to be honest, but oh well, maybe next time. So far, my journey led me up a mountain, which I struggled way too much to climb, and then to a good old plains biome.
I just took a screenshot of that. This could be a very good warm-up exercise. I'm not really seeing this landscape to be like anything epic once I'm done with it, except for I take some artistic liberties and add some floating mountains or something. I think that could be really cool.
Luckily, after this kinda mediocre first screenshot, I stumbled upon this next location.
Ooh, that looks cool. Okay, oh my god, some cave action. That could be really awesome. Let's check that out. Oh my gosh, okay. Gotta be careful. This could be so cool. The little floating island kind of thing, like it's not really floating, I guess, but oh, there's so much depth in this. Oh my god, this is gonna be a challenge. I feel like I'm gonna struggle so much with drawing that because I don't really draw caves, or I haven't drawn them in forever, let's just say like that. Like maybe I drew 1 or 2 caves, don't want to lie to y'all, but my god, it's been forever. But oh, this looks cool.
What can I say? I was right. Drawing this was a struggle, but more about that in a bit. This was actually the first screenshot redraw I did, but I decided to just show you the speed painting already, so there's a back and forth of Minecraft gameplay and drawing to keep things interesting. Because this was my third try drawing Minecraft sceneries, I was pretty optimistic about the whole thing at first. I already had some training, I was really happy with one of my prior tries, which you'll get to see later, and this was one of my favorite landscapes I found in my 1 hour of searching the realm. So, what could go wrong? At first nothing, to be honest. I decided to trace the screenshot, which I didn't do in my previous redraws, so that was fun and new and exciting. And then I blocked all the major shapes in before I started tackling the mountains in the foreground. At first I thought they were gonna be the death of me, but I was actually super happy with them in the end. But with one part of the drawing more or less completely done, I had to make all other parts match, and that's where the struggle begins. The rendering and shading of singular mountains and caves was one thing, but making everything look like it belonged together and actually existed in the same place was hard. I just couldn't get the colors and values to work, and I was getting so frustrated with myself. It had been a while since I drew a complicated landscape like this, so I felt like my landscape drawing skills got a little rusty and suffered the consequences of me not really drawing elaborate backgrounds all that much anymore. Which is why I ended up being extremely unhappy with this drawing, while also not knowing how to fix it. Luckily, I have an amazing girlfriend that sat down with me, looked at the drawing and told me what she changed. And while she did have some awesome ideas, I didn't immediately go and do them. because that evening I was just too done with everything. So I continued drawing the next day, which was the best decision ever. After looking at the landscape with some fresh eyes and a plan in hand, it wasn't even all that bad anymore. I made the foreground lighter, added some light rays, and also unblurred the background again. And with those changes, it was actually kinda cute. I liked it. I still feel like overall it is very soft, and maybe some harder and light shadows could benefit this drawing, but it's way better than where I would have left it at would I have just stopped trying and given up. And with that, onto the search for the next victim, which was a village. Fuck yeah, let's go. Village could be kind of cutie. It could be a way for me to go and practice some houses. Okay, I really like this house right here. Wait, let me cook. I guess I could kind of do it like this. Oh, this is also kind of cute. Honestly, this is really cute. I like the donkey. I didn't end up drawing the houses because my repulsion for drawing architecture got the better of me, but maybe someday I will tackle that. Until then, less drawing houses, more drawing trees. That's where it's at. I love me some good trees and forests. With that motto in mind, it didn't take me long to find the next landscape I'd draw, which was actually also the first drawing I did for this video. Question is, do I just go with another like forest shot like this? It's kind of lazy, but I'm just gonna do it, I think, just for fun, so I have it on hand. The reason I call this landscape lazy is because I draw forests like all the time. Since this one was my very first redraw of a Minecraft landscape, and I did this at like 2 a.m. after recording all the gameplay and also struggling with setting up the capture card so I could record the gameplay to begin with. I was busy with this whole thing for like hours on end, but you know, I was like on one hand so tired and it was so late and it was like, oh god, I need to go to bed. But on the other, it was also just so fun and I was so excited because running around in Minecraft really got my creative juices flowing again. So yeah, that's why I continued on even though it was like 2 a.m. And that's also why for this landscape I decided to keep things very loose and treat the screenshot like I treat a reference picture for my landscape studies. So everything is very sketchy and I'm relying on texture brushes to do the heavy lifting because I wanted to somehow save my bedtime. So I jumped straight into colors, no sketch whatsoever, and originally I was thinking I was gonna finish this in 30 minutes, but it ended up taking me around an hour. So it did not go as planned. I used this first drawing to figure out how to translate all the blocky Minecraft glory into a more realistic look. My biggest challenge with this was actually to figure out how to incorporate the little grass tops on the Minecraft dirt blocks, because usually I just draw either grass or dirt, not grass on dirt. So that was what I spent most of my brain cells on, I'd say. Even though it's such a small detail, it was actually the one that when I sat down to draw this, I was just like, oh my gosh, how do I do that? Like, how do I keep that in the drawing without just redrawing Minecraft by making everything blocky? But I figured it out. I settled on keeping the kind of hilly terrain and used the dirt to show different layers of the hill basically. And I actually really like the visual of that and will definitely incorporate it into future drawings of mine as well. Another thing I tried out in this drawing is adding birch roots, so like roots to the birch trees. I don't know why, but I feel like I never really did that before, and it's such a minor detail, but it was a first for me and I ended up liking it a lot and also feel like it added a lot to this drawing. So I just want to give that tiny little detail the credit that it deserves because I love the roots. I don't know why I never did it. I also don't know if I'm lying if I say I never did it, but it just felt very groundbreaking to me at the time. And it's not like I never drew roots before, I definitely did that, but I just don't know if I ever drew roots on specifically birches. And for some reason that did something for my brain. That was just really amazing, groundbreaking, show-stopping, wonderful for me. And I love the results of it so much. I gotta say, I love this whole drawing, to be honest. It is one of my favorites of the bunch, like little spoiler alert, but yeah, this is one of my favorites. I didn't even add in the roses as predominantly as I originally planned, because like fun fact, they were originally one of the main reasons that I ended up settling for the screenshot, even though it is pretty simple composition wise and everything, because I just really like the contrast of the red roses with the white birches. I thought it could be really cute to play around with that. And in the end, I nearly forgot to add the roses completely. So they were like a last minute addition that I just added with some splattered brushes. And that's it. But I think it works. But I'm very sorry for the roses because they deserve better. But again, I'm really, really happy with this drawing. I feel like the red did end up adding a very nice contrast. But yeah, I could have made the roses better, but maybe in another drawing. Also, at the very end, I decided to add some birds to the sky, and I will let past me explain why that was a good business decision.
Honestly, look at how much of a difference these birds make, because now it's like we keep getting swooped down here and there is something there. It's not just getting swooped down there and like, oh, we have nothingness, we have ocean. Like, no, now there's birds there. This would also be the perfect place for just a person to stand. I'm not doing that right now, but it would be a perfect place. But yeah,
because I specifically used and also kind of limited myself to the art style of my landscape studies for this, I got the idea that it could be really interesting to use a different art style for each redraw. You already saw the more realistic bird drawing, but you didn't see the stylized forest scene yet, so let's jump into it. This is the second drawing I worked on, and I decided to stay more faithful to the screenshot in this than the prior drawing, which was the birch forest. Because with the birch forest, I didn't even get the number of trees right that were in the screenshot. I didn't count them, and I just noticed that after I was done and was like, okay, no, it's just gonna stay this way. I was too lazy to add more trees. So yeah, I know the scenery of this screenshot isn't that epic, but I like the composition well enough, and I thought it would be another good, not that challenging practice piece to familiarize myself more with how I interpret the blocky Minecraft art style. And yeah, because there weren't that many details, I just decided that I use my lasso tool art style, aka I just blocked in everything with the lasso tool and like one texture brush. That's it. That's the drawing. I also feel like this drawing didn't turn out that good looking, so just a little disclaimer, it was on me. The lasso tool tried its best. I just didn't let it work its magic. Like, real talk, I created some of my all-time favorite drawings using this tool, but in this redraw, I just didn't manage to do it. Like, I feel like this isn't really a good example to show you how amazing the lasso tool truly is. I think the reason is that I actively restricted myself from using things like grass texture brushes, and the landscape suffered from it tremendously. Also the colors, I should have gone with a sunset or something like that. It would have been way more dramatic and cooler, but nevertheless, I do like the shapes I came up with for the treetops, and I think the silhouettes are overall very solid. I also love the little fallen leaves I added all over the forest floor. They're one of my favorite details in this drawing, even though it's so tiny, but they just added something to it that my brain liked a lot. Also, staying true to my words, I gave the birches roots again, and I just wanted to point that out to give myself credit. My process for this drawing was a bit more traditional in the sense that I created a sketch first and then blocked all the shapes in, followed by shading everything. I used a textured brush to fill the selections I made with the lasso tool with colors, and because of that you have very sharp and clear edges and an overall more graphic and stylized look, I would say. I first gave the drawing a more moody vibe, but then switched it up again for just a bit of sunshine because it felt so boring without it, and with that the drawing was done. Also, you may have noticed that I didn't show you how I stumbled upon this place in game. I just kind of forgot. It wasn't that exciting, I think. Like, I really just saw it and was like, nah, it's good enough. I like the composition, let's go with it. The next and last place I found though, and will draw, was not forgettable at all.
Yeah, I think we're gonna go with something where it's like we have a tree in the foreground and they're so thick. I like that. Okay, and I definitely want to go to that one tree up there. I think I'm just gonna build my way up. Oh my god, I don't see it at all anymore. Help. Where are you? Where are you? There you are. I kind of don't like that this treetop is in the way. Wait. Oh my god, is that a leopard? God, I've never seen one. Oh my goodness. Oh, no. Uppies, please. Please. Ah. Oh my gosh. Wait, where are the vines going? Help. Oh my god, okay, I'm getting really high up. And I'm stuck. Oh gosh. No. Okay. Saved it, kinda. Ooh. Okay, this is cool, but we're gonna make it cooler. Because I will just build myself out. Can I please? Yes, thank you. I'm gonna ignore the dirt in the screenshot. This is such a good shot. I love this. Like, the little vine going down here, amazing. All those vines on that tree, amazing. This like just greenery overload, amazing.
As mentioned earlier, I tried using different art styles for all redraws, and for this final fourth drawing, I had something special on mind. I was thinking adding characters into one of these redraws could be really cool, and coincidentally, I do happen to have a cutie little comic with a bunch of easy to draw characters in it, so for this drawing, I'm doing a little crossover. I also haven't updated my comic in a while, which I want to change, so this was a perfect opportunity to get back into drawing my characters again. And speaking of them, I actually needed a little while to figure out which of them could inhabit the environment I was about to draw, like realistically speaking, so it fits with the lore, because although I do have plenty of spirits to choose from, most of them would never be up in a tree, so my options were limited. I ended up settling on grass birds, tree spirits, and forest birds. The grass birds were kind of a stretch, but the little guys do love berries, so maybe there are some hidden berries up in the tree, and that's why they made the effort to climb them. I'm making this excuse for them up because I wanted to place one character on the tree in the foreground, and both tree and forest birds can float, so they weren't what I was looking for. Plus, I also drew grass birds in a tree before, so it's free game. Maybe the little forest birds helped floating them up or something like that. That could be really, really cute actually, so I think I'm gonna go with that explanation. But yeah, speaking of the trees,
I really like that the tree tops of the jungle trees are like very flat, you know, they're all kind of, you know, this shape more or less. So that's really, really cute, really fun to play around with mayhaps. Oh, this is gonna be interesting because right now this kind of more looks like clouds to me than treetops. So I will see how I go about that.
I dealt with the cloud situation by simply ignoring it and moving on.
I will maybe also pull up just one illustration from my comic as reference for myself because I haven't drawn anything for it in forever.
Now, little behind the scenes fact, because I did not record this, I did pull up a scene from my comic just to see what exactly I was usually doing with the backgrounds, and what stood out to me the most was these drawn on top vines thingies that you can see right here. They are very crude, but I think it works. So I noted that down as a possibility for the vines in this drawing. I didn't end up going with it, but I just thought I would let you know that it was an option for me to begin with. Now, back to my drawing process. The grass bird got its own personal branch, but because greenery on the branch would have covered up my favorite parts of the background, which is this tree section right here, I kept it leafless. which led to me adding little bald stumps. I don't know how else to refer to them, but I feel like that's the wrong word, so if anyone knows a better word, let me know. But yeah, I ended up adding these little bald stumps to all trees so they look similar and no one questions them. And I think they're kind of cute because they look like little arms, so it's like as if the trees are waving hi. And I love them so much. This is the best decision ever in this drawing. It's so cute. To separate the foreground from the background, I varied my line art thickness, and after I had drawn everything in, it was time for the bucket tool. I have a love-hate relationship with that thing because it always misses a few pixels no matter how many changes I make in the settings, but this is still way faster than drawing everything in manually, so bucket tool this. Also, don't mind the crazy colors. I always color in the things that are on the same layer in the same color, so the shading is easier later on. Gotta say, sometimes these color combinations even end up looking not that bad, so maybe one day I'll do a crazy landscape that has a color scheme like this as a little experiment to see if it would work, but no promises regarding that, but I think it could be fun. Because my comics art style is very simple, I struggled with trying to figure out how to add a bit more details to this. All the spirits definitely helped liven up the place, however you say that, especially because the forest spirits are glowing, so I used that to my advantage to have multiple light sources and play around with some blue highlights. I also do this in my comic though because it's quick and easy while looking good, so it wasn't anything that was added on top of my usual art style. Which is why I decided that I also wanted to add more texture in general, and I did that with the help of the lasso tool. It is back again because I wanted to keep the more graphic style, and I thought that these really sharp edges from the lasso tool would kind of fit to the line art in the sense that it has similar vibes, if you know what I mean. And yeah, after some more color adjustments, this final drawing was finished as well. So yeah, which one of these is your favorite? Please tell me in the comments below. You can also do a little rating. Personally, I love the birch forest and this final drawing the most. The one with the floating islands is also a close second place for me, but just because I can still remember how frustrated I was in the middle of drawing it, that kind of dampens the way I feel about it and just puts it down a notch, so that's why it's like on place 2. But yeah, I would also really love to know how you like this video in general, because this was my first try doing something like this. So any feedback is hugely appreciated, and if you like this video and or my art, go subscribe to my channel to see more. And also feel free to check out my socials in the description. I have plenty more landscape drawings over on my Instagram, and I also have my comic Everyday Spirit Struggle linked below, so you can check it out and read it and just find out more about the characters of the final illustrations. And yeah, thank you all so much for watching. I appreciate it a bunch, and I hope you have an amazing day, and I will maybe see you in the next video. Bye bye!